Hi, it's Carl Brower and I'm standing next to the 2024 Mazda Miata. Now this vehicle is not all new for 2024, but it did get some important updates. We're going to talk about that in a second. This car has been in production now for over 35 years, and it is the best-selling roadster on the planet. I think it hit 1 million total sales somewhere around 2016, and thankfully Mazda continues to produce it today. I was very fortunate in that I got to drive the original Chicago Auto Show car, made a world debut at that show back in the late 80s. And I was able to drive that little blue roadster a few years ago, and it was a great reminder of why this car and the entire Mazda Miata heritage has been so popular with enthusiasts for over 35 years. It continues to sell relatively well, although sales are trending down a little bit. I worry that today's youth and enthusiasts maybe aren't really into the minimalist nature of the Mazda Miata, but let's hope Mazda doesn't stop producing them as much as maybe the world tries to move on and away from a car like this. So how has Mazda kept the original spirit of the Miata alive for over 3.5 decades? Well, thankfully they followed all the basic tenets the car was founded on. It's light. This car weighs only about 2,500 pounds. And because of that, even having a relatively modest 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque in the 4-cylinder that's under the hood, it still feels plenty fast and it's extremely responsive. You know, there's a saying about how much more fun it is to drive a slow car fast than it is to drive a fast car slow. And I would think the Miata may be the prime example of what people are talking about. It only does 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds, which wasn't slow a few years ago, well, maybe more than a few years ago, but if you can do 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, you're not going to really feel like a slow car. This doesn't feel like a slow car. And it's got a 6-speed manual in these club versions, and it really is lively. It's responsive, it's easy to use, it shifts very willingly. It's really the way to get these cars. And I'm a big fan of the idea that some people don't want 3 pedals, especially if they live in Southern California like I do. And there is a 6-speed automatic available for this car, but even more than probably the 911 in my opinion, a Mazda Miata with an automatic really goes against the nature of the vehicle. But that's what Mazda's done. They've kept this small, light, perfectly 50-50 weight balanced car alive, and they've kept its original spirit intact, and that's why it still appeals to enthusiasts today, even if maybe not, well, as many enthusiasts as it did a few years ago. Sales are unfortunately trending down. While the nameplate is over 35 years old, it's only had 4 redesigns. This is only the 4th generation car, and it's been around since 2016. Credit to Mazda, they do keep making small tweaks to keep it competitive. For 2024, the car gets a new steering rack and a new steering power assist system that's supposed to give it better on-center feel. It also gets LED headlights and taillights, and for Grand Touring and Club models, like the one behind me, a new limited slip differential tuning that's supposed to make it deliver power better around corners. There's also a new track mode on Club models like this that gives a little more leeway when you want to get sideways or have rear wheel spin before traction control and stability control intercedes. Interior upgrades for 2024 include a new 8.8-inch central touchscreen, a padded center console, which should hopefully improve comfort, and the integration of Alexa voice commands to the infotainment system. That system already has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I think about those kind of high-tech features on a car that's this minimalist, and even though it's 2024, it still feels a little bizarre to think of the little Mazda Miata with that kind of high-tech features, like forward collision mitigation, lane departure warning, and blind spot warning. But it doesn't have, at least on the base sport model, automatic headlights, automatic climate control, a navigation system, or smart cruise control. These features seem pretty standard on a lot of cars today, but you have to step up to the Grand Touring trim of the Mazda Miata to get that. For club models like this one, there is a specific Brembo BBS Recaro package. That includes 17-inch dark forged wheels, red Brembo brake calipers, lower body cladding along the outside of the vehicle, and heated Recaro seats. That package actually comes standard on the Club RF model like you see behind me. RF stands for retractable fastback because it's got a central hardtop that retracts automatically. But if you get the more common open top convertible Miata, you have to pay extra. A base sport trim Miata starts right at $30,000, a mid-level club model starts around $33,000, and the Grand Touring starts at about $35,000. However, if you go for the retractable fastback like this one, it adds to the price. It becomes about $38,000 if you get the Grand Touring and about $42,000 if you get the club model, because it includes that Brembo BBS Recaro package as part of the RF trim. You know, probably the best compliment I can pay the current Miata is that I couldn't tell if it had electric assist power steering when I first drove it. I got into it assuming it'd be easy to identify within a few turns, and I couldn't tell. I had to stop and look it up because I wasn't sure, and sure enough, it does have electric assist power steering. In fact, it was improved for 2024 with better on-center feel, but it's good enough that I can't really tell, and that's probably the ultimate compliment I can pay to any electric assist power steering system. Other driver controls, braking, throttle, shifter, they're all the magic that make the Miata the lovable sports car it's been for over 35 years. This car actually inspires you to drive it relatively aggressively, even when you're just commuting on a regular road. The good news is, because it's a 181 horsepower car, you can drive it aggressively on public roads and not really be a scofflaw or hooligan and not really be annoying other drivers. They probably have no idea how much fun you're having when you're driving this car semi-aggressively. It's the best rule of the more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. This is the RF version of the Miata, and that stands for retractable fastback. It allows you to put the center of the hardtop roof away in just a matter of seconds, and it gives you effectively a convertible impression as you drive the car. Like all of these kind of Targa designed vehicles, when you're looking forward, you can't see anything behind you and it feels like you're in an open top car. It's not quite as open air as the traditional convertible version of the Miata, but it does feel plenty open and airy enough. I was actually thinking you'd have pretty good wind protection if you didn't want to get totally mussed in here, but maybe I'm too tall. I'm feeling a lot of wind on the top of my head when I drive this, and depending on your hair situation, you're going to still mess it up pretty bad if you drive with the top open like this. Everyone knows the Mazda Miata doesn't exactly have the roomiest of interiors, but it did get some nice upgrades for 2024. In the case of this Club RF model, you do get these standard Recaro heated seats. They're a package you have to order on the convertible version, but in this version, you get these standard heated Recaro seats that do a good job of holding you in. All cars also benefit from a padded center armrest, a little more comfort if your arm wants to sit here as you're driving, and a new 8.8-inch central touchscreen that does work quite effectively. I've been using it and it feels quite intuitive and is easy to use. The Mazda Miata feels increasingly like a car out of time in today's high-tech sensory deprivation world. It remains a lightweight, 50-50, perfectly balanced, super responsive roadster with less than 200 horsepower and the ability, by the way, to pull almost 36 miles per gallon on the freeway because it is so light and efficient. It serves an important role in today's automotive environment. A car out of time? Yes, but let's hope Mazda never lets its time actually run out.